Learning anything new can be fairly difficult, and riding a unicycle is no different. Not knowing how to approach it or if what you're experiencing is right or wrong can be discouraging. Here is a step-by-step series of suggestions about what to do, why, and some probable issues you'll experience, and how to overcome them. Assuming you have a 20-inch diameter wheel, or close to it, you should set your unicycle seat height to roughly your hip bone height. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but try to make sure the tippity top of the saddle meets your hip bone. The first issue you'll encounter is how to get on the thing. This is one of the hardest parts, and we're only going to go over riding in this video because mounting is a whole nother beast for another time. Understand that when the unicycle pedals move, so does the wheel. The wheel and the pedals move together, always, even when moving backwards. This means that you have to be careful of the crank position when trying to mount, because if you put pressure on the pedals in the wrong position, the unicycle could move and potentially come back and hit you in the shins. To get up, find yourself a wall or a fence, put one pedal all the way down to the ground, put one foot on the bottom pedal, put the seat under your hips, put all the weight on the bottom pedal, and bring yourself to sit on top of the unicycle. Use the fence to pull yourself up to help keep balance. The second issue you'll encounter is being really uneasy at the top of the unicycle, even with something to hold on to. To help keep balance, try to get the pedals from vertical to horizontal. This is hard to do, especially when first learning, because when you push down on the top pedal, you're pushing directly into the crank. This also makes it really hard to start riding. Do your best to wiggle into a horizontal crank position using the wall or fence. This will make it much easier to initiate riding, even if you look silly doing it. The third issue you'll encounter is actually riding. Once you're in a horizontal crank position, you're going to want to try and start pedaling with your front foot. What's going to happen is you're going to put pressure on the front pedal and you're going to start to lean and fall backwards. This is because you didn't lean forward. To go forward, you need to lean forward, and it's scary to lean forward because you need to commit. Use the fence or the wall to lean on slightly and gauge how much pedal pressure it takes to counteract any given amount of forward lean. The more lean, the more pressure. Start out with a small lean and very little pedal pressure. Spend some time here going forward and back to get the hang of the initial movement. Once you get comfortable with this, the fourth issue you'll need to overcome is the dead zone. The dead zone is when your forward pedal reaches the bottom position and you need to start pushing down with the other pedal. But again, pushing down on the vertical pedal is super inefficient. Don't believe me? Try it. If you got to this position, then congratulations. It's the hardest part of unicycling, and if you get past this, you can get past anything. Ideally, you'll use the momentum from the initial movement to glide through the dead zone. This requires a little extra lean and a little extra push when your crank is horizontal. However, this comes with practice and a little bit of courage. Practice getting to and through this point because it's going to happen twice every crank cycle. Really emphasize that little extra lean and that little extra push just before the dead zone, but nothing replaces practice. The fifth and final issue you'll have to overcome is the unicycle veering off course. You're going to want the unicycle to stay straight, but with every crank push, it's going to fight you. The key here is to let the unicycle win. With each push down when your crank is horizontal, the unicycle is going to want to swivel to whatever side the front foot is. This is okay because A, it's hard to counteract, especially in the beginning, and B, in just another half a crank, the unicycle is going to swivel to the other side and make a net straight line. I have a video about this in more detail in the top right. From here, try to just remain upright as possible, sit comfortably in the seat, and every so often, take your hand off the wall to get a feel of how to ride unassisted. Keep in mind, unicycling requires balance, but balance is not a universal attribute. In other words, if you have great balance because you never trip, you skateboard, you roller skate, you snowboard, you balance beam and whatnot, it doesn't necessarily transfer to other apparatuses. Getting better at handstand balance will not help you with unicycling, and vice versa. The good news here is that even if you have less than great balance, you're not starting out behind the 8-ball. You're starting from the exact same point as Circus Joe over there. Please let me know in the comments if this step-by-step guide was helpful. I wanted to give a quick, concise, and relatable guide on riding a unicycle and the common thoughts that accompany first-time riders. I hope this is helpful, and consider subscribing if you want more unicycle content. Thanks and good luck.